In the wake of World War I, DuPont again found itself under public scrutiny. The U.S. Congress accused DuPont of overcharging the government during the war. And although government auditors ultimately cleared the company, DuPont suffered in the public's eye. In 1934, DuPont suffered another public relations blow when family members were called to testify before Senator Gerald Nye, chairman of the Senate Munitions Investigating Committee.
There is but one war that I would like to see this world engage in. That is a war which would find civilization making war against the private munitions makers the world over.
P.S. DuPont was unapologetic in defending his family's corporate history, despite renewed cries that the DuPonts were merchants of death. But a new war would bring DuPont back together with the government.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
In 1941, for the first time since the American Revolution, the United States entered the war without having DuPont as its chief munitions supplier. The company had long since diversified itself into a chemical conglomerate. In fact, their greatest technological contribution to the war effort would be nylon, an invention by DuPont chemist Dr. Wallace Carruthers.
The women of America were very much interested in nylon stockings, but the GIs were much more interested in the parachutes, which were made of nylon.
If you look back at World War II and say, what did DuPont do that no one else could have done? Others could have made the munitions. DuPont made the nylon. And at that time, there was no other company in the world that would have been able to do what DuPont did in terms of creating and manufacturing and scaling up nylon as a war material.
But the final chapter of DuPont's role in explosives was still to be written. President Roosevelt asked the company to help develop the atomic bomb as part of the Manhattan Project.
DuPont was probably most important in that regard, not so much from the standpoint of the basic science that the company could contribute to that, as was the company's ability to engineer.
People are mainly, I think, unaware that DuPont supervised all of the construction of the atomic energy facilities at Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
In addition to Oak Ridge, DuPont supervised the construction of the Hanford Engineering Works, where the plutonium was made for the world's first atomic bomb.
The company had taken a lot of criticism in the First World War for having made too much money. So they said, well, here's something we can do for the war effort. Here's something we can do to help America win the war. And the deal was DuPont would do all this for cost plus $1.
Today, DuPont is the world's largest chemical company, appropriate for the business started by Eleuthère Irénée DuPont. After all, it had been his dream to be a chemist when he had studied under the great Lavoisier.
I think if E.I. DuPont looked at the modern DuPont company, I think he would be truly awestruck, and I'm sure very proud that what he set in motion ended up being a company that had made this kinds of contribution to the world that the DuPont company has.
Today, there are nearly 4,000 members of the DuPont family. And although they are scattered across 44 states and 6 continents, many still consider home to be the Brandywine region of Delaware. Here, some still get together on one of their estates and pay their homage to Eleuthère Irénée DuPont in their own special way.
Fire in the hole!
You know, any family of 3,000 people has got all kinds of people in it. But when you look back, you do see 3 or 4 extraordinary people. DuPont de Nemours' vision, Eleuthère Irénée's ability to build a business, Lamott's vision of a different technology, Pierre Samuel's view that you could take technology in this area and expand it into a larger market. I mean, these were extraordinary people. It's a pretty good family to be a part of.
More than 1,000 family members came together for a milestone reunion in the summer of 2000. It was exactly 2 centuries after Pierre Samuel DuPont landed in America. Invitations went out to everyone officially registered with the family's genealogy department, and descendants from around the world gathered in Delaware. Not all the DuPont relatives are millionaires, but most of them are wealthy. Examples of the old company slogan, "Better living through chemistry." For the History Channel, I'm Roger Mudd. Thanks for watching.
All day today on the History Channel. They all started with a dream and proudly declared that theirs was made in the USA. The History Channel celebrates the spirit of invention and progress with industries that contributed to the tapestry of the American culture and economic life. From the tycoons who made millions to the bitter struggles of the working class heroes. The empires of industry on an all-day history-a-thon today on the History Channel.
Now an exclusive offer from the History Channel. You can own the program you've just seen on video cassette for only $24.95 plus shipping and handling. To order, call 1-800-708-1776 or shop online at historychannel.com.